yeah, I'm going to try to tell you why, when use it, or discard, or whatever. Well, the different sections are what are feature flags, why, the problem, the antecedent, phase approach, how improve the approachment, third parties, the difference between feature flags and blue-green, or configuration manager, good principles and issues, risk, or why don't use feature flags. Don't expect hype. I'm going to provide a full set of reasons for not using them, but also they provide good, it's a good tool for in many circumstances. Okay, what are feature flags? That's, for me, it's the better definition. A feature flag is a process that allows you to modify the behavior of your system, but or without deploying code or any downtime, just on the fly, at live. At the end, it's an if in your code. You can save time, it's only that, but there are more, when you dig into the feature flags, there are more things probably you need to know. That's what I want to try. For me, it's not only downtime, it's about being able to monitorize the changes you do. Decouple these changes in the code from the own code, and also keeping that changes or keeping that ability, that tool, totally out of your architecture or your system, being totally flexible. Why or what do you expect to get if you use feature flag? Well, probably you are going to find, or you are going to improve your continuous delivery. Probably you will be able to study, or you should be able to study or prevent any performance issues in the new release before that they happen. You should be able to do rollbacks or avoid rollbacks because you prevent the issues before the release, but just in case, you will be able to do it. People love microservices. Some people, when we talk about feature flags, say don't use microservices with feature flags, because it's, well, you know, many times using microservices, the following, tracking the what time running exactly is hard. So if you add more logical path, as feature flag does, is harder, but it's a way to use microservices. You can use them with feature flag too. Many people say, thanks to feature flags, you can decrease the code lead time. Since the beginning, you start to code a feature until the moment you release that feature. Decrease the failure rate, being able to do A/B deploys, so you can study, you have two different features at the same time, and you can study two different sets of users and how they do, what they do. Validation of the code can be improved. I told about the resize decreases, and one of the most important things for the people is you can modify the behavior of your system, but no disruptions. Well, there are 4 types of feature flags. It's those related to the release. Imagine you have a migration, sorry. When people talk about migration with no downtime. People used to say, okay, put the logic of the migration, but don't run the migration, or later put the logic related to the new structure, and so. Well, feature flags allow you to deploy a code, but not active that code until the moment you active that feature flag. I told about the A/B deploys, the being able to experiment different folds of features with different sets of users. Operational, that kind of feature flags are related to allowing to capture more resources or to create more queues without, it's like, okay, don't disturb DevOps or system administrator, create a change in the behavior of the system to prepare you for different moments with spikes of users or whatever. And the last one is related to permission. Different users, different groups. Imagine this place, the PyCon. There are people who is part of the organization, people who is visiting. So all us, we can go into Eventbrite. Some of us we just can take our ticket. Other user, they can check if the ticket is related to the PyCon or not. Different information is shown. Okay, that kind of thing. One of the issues about feature flags, it's as I say, every time you create a feature flag, you split your logic in two different ways. More you do that, harder to follow the structure or the path the code is running. So when you create a feature flag, when you design a feature flag, you should take into account that feature flag should die eventually. You will create, you will deploy the feature flag into production, you will activate it on the pending. Later we will see different ways to manage the feature flags. And at the end, you need to retire the feature flag. I told about the 4 types, and those are the timelines, the expiration, the usual expiration for them. Once you do a release, you need to do a new branch just to remove the feature flag related to the release, because it's working. You don't need a permanent shield. If you need a permanent shield for a release you did a couple of weeks ago, probably you don't trust in your code and you have another issues related with that new code, and you need to ask yourself why I don't trust in my code. Experiment, again, is for a season to take some data. When you finish that, remove it. Operational, if you have a problem about your resources, you need to regularly schedule or to have a panic button to solve. Imagine, I don't know, let's use a comparison. Imagine you have a highway, 2 directions, and regularly you need to steal part of the one side and give that side to the other direction because you have more cars in one direction and you need to steal more resources. If you need it regularly for years, you have a problem. You need to fix that. Stop that patch, fix the problem you have in your system, and remove the operational feature flags. And well, probably permission feature flags can live eternally because it's a way to handle how users use the system, and well, the user level, you don't modify dramatically the user levels in the system normally. Disadvantage there are, but I prefer to try to tell you the good one things, and at the end I will tell you a lot of things that can be bad. Why feature flags? Okay. For the rest, I like to rest at night. It's like they are a shield, they reduce risk. We say that they are rollback. Okay, it's a problem. Okay, undo the let's switch the feature flag of the last release and undo the changes. Well, not undo the changes. Logically undo the changes. You are not modifying the code. We don't want that. The problem, antecedent. Okay, do you know the play I Never? It's a drinking game. Every time I never, you drink. Okay, I don't want you drink, but just think about that. I never work without pre-prod environment. Okay, probably that was a good moment to use feature flags. I never release a project we have code for months or 1 year at once at the end, totally. Yeah, a lot of QA, a lot of unit tests, end-to-end tests, but not real in production. I never deploy, refactor a feature I don't trust, totally. I have done all of them, don't worry. Deploy without performance tests, without tests. Keep the old code and use a new one. I remember in my first position, I was young, bad developer. And sorry. Yeah, now it's hype. You are waiting for the... I had a complex query, I remember. It was done SQL, directly SQL, no ORM. And it was very, very slow. I was able to do a better one, but sometimes the better one fails. So I had to try the better one, catch the bad one. I mean, the solution is to fix the thing, but if you need to deploy that, okay, use a feature flags. Try the good one, and again, try to fix that cheat code you have developed. Probably you can imagine another anti-pattern action you have done. Well, all those scenarios are good scenarios. You can improve. You can feel better. You can do better work if you use feature flags. Okay, the first approach, the setting file. In the intuition, intuitively, sorry, that's weird. The intuition says when you don't know about feature flags is, okay, I need to modify how my system works. So sometimes a constant file, a variables file is created. And it works. I need to test something in production, so I create a user or a company in production so we can simulate better. And you work for a while with that. Or you can, anytime you develop something new, you have the new feature variable, and you pack your new code around an if my new feature, do the new logic. Other case, the old logic. Talking again about the 4 objective I set for myself at the beginning, this solution doesn't solve the downtime. You need to deploy every time you want to change anything. And unless you have another tool, you are going to have some downtime. You probably can monitor the changes because probably you will have your monitorization tool and will work. It's not decoupled. This logic effect is full inside in the code. So you didn't decouple the code, and you are limited to Python. You are doing the changes in Python. Okay, the first approach, the first improving, or the first way that people improve this approach, when people discover feature flags, it's people start to use some of those libraries. I find, but are limited too. For me, the most important limit is sometimes you are deploying a new feature and you want to double check the performance issues. You want first day just 10% of the user use the new feature. Those libraries doesn't accept that. Well, wherefore it does. And they have another limit. The code, the logic, keep being into the code or in the Django admin. I will show you. Everybody in the company has access to all the features. So if you are in a big company, people, they don't understand totally, they don't have the expertise of a part of the application, can do modification in some feature flags. And Django catch, the different ways we have to, the different catch we have, can affect. If you have if you are catching users, for example, you have a feature flag that check the user, you can have problem between the real, because it was a recent update, or between the behavior in your local and in your remote, because the distributed catch. Well, how it was Django Flash? Django Flash allow you set a lot of a set of flags. Also, you put in the templates, you put the check, and if the check is true, it shows that part of the code. Also admit modification in URLs. If you have a get, you can put in the parameter of the get feature flags and set the value true or false, and you will receive the information on depending the true or false value. You can manage it into your Django admin. You can define a lot, empty conditions, with condition, multiple conditions, required dictionaries. There are some combination that it allows, but probably are not a good idea, because if you have a dictionary but also are required, take care. When you have complex feature flags, maybe you will take a look in the logic and split the class or the feature, because, well, you know, keep it simple. Those are the pros. Yeah, you can use flags. You can put flags. You can use decorator. You can put a feature flag as a decorator, and all the code run will accept that value for the flag directly without asking. You can get all the features status at once. We have some improvements, but the couple not yet. And the only frontend we can use with this is the Django template. Waffles is better because it's simple. Just one function. Allow to customize the class. Allow groups, user, percentage as you use. It allows to use waffle yes, so it's wider the scope of where you can use that. And it has simple feature flags, switch, just all or nothing. And yeah, the summary. Gargoyle, for me, is not much better than Django Flash. Also, it's deprecated, but, well, probably the best thing that it does is testing. It's better for testing. It has a good system of decorator for testing. And we will see one of the good things, or one of the good habits we should have with feature flag is do test. Test when the feature flag is true and when it's false. Gargoyle does. Yeah, and the limits. Well, third parties. Those are the third parties I have used. They are very, very, very complete. It's full of features. They allow percentages, allow set of uses, allow a lot of parameters to define. They allow things that some authors consider anti-patterns. They put as feature. Oh yeah, sorry. Amen. We are able to do this. No, that's a good thing, a bad thing. They have multi-language. You can do with mobile, front-end, backend languages, whatever. They allow kill switch. We will talk later. That deploy, multivariant, a lot of things. Now you will have the if with all. If feature flag, but you don't know in your code what does that feature flag. The definition, all the behavior of the feature flag is on a board out of your system. It's like calling an API and, hey, this variable, what means this variable? They allow to have domains of variables. So imagine you are in a big company, you are on charge of singing new users, that your team just is on charge of that. You have the feature flags related to that. You don't know which feature flag has other people, nothing like that. And they don't know, and they can't modify your system without your knowledge. They overkill everything you need. You can take whatever you want of those if you want to do whatever. And what I should do? Buy a third party, or build a library. Take a look about the pros on each and choose. For me, my advice is you can take a library, but do an effort to packet as much the logic as much as you can into a pattern or a ledger or whatever. So for the regular developer, they will feel they are using a third party. That will allow you to migrate just in case you need a third party with more functionalities and so on. Okay, feature flags versus blue-green. Blue-green is a way to deploy. Feature flags is able to do more things than just deploying. Those are for me, the most important difference is related with the environments. You need less environment with feature flags. In case of a rollback, blue-green is you need to return to the other environment. In feature flags, you just switch a button, and yeah, from the feature flag perspective. Versus configuration manager, well, it's this is the difference. Feature flag should die. That means you need to do two things, or you duplicate the work. One is to create, and the other one is to remove it. More feature flags you keep in your code, more convert your system into a net. Good principle of feature flags. Some people try to use what people call the feature flag pattern. It's a feature toggle. I try to code it for Python, but I just found it in Java, and I hadn't time enough to bring that here. Good principle is great test. Both cases, active, on or off, but great test for both cases. You need to ensure what happened in both cases. Keeping into mind, remove the flag. Keep a high level of communication. This is very important. You should tell, everybody in the company should know you are going to do something in the logic, something that can affect. I mean, I don't say everybody in the company, committee, responsible person in each team, but communication should happen. Hey, we are in payment and we are going to modify the default payment system or whatever. So if people detect something happens, they can think, okay, this is because we have added something, or this is because they add something 1 hour ago. Communication is needed. Nobody wants to become crazy in a big company because anyone in any place modify something and say nothing. Deploy small features. Again, small pieces managed by feature flags. Naming compensation for deploy, for operation feature flags, use it. Keep the logic simple. Don't change feature flags. And the hider is try to be able to backward always. We don't want that. You don't want that. Really. And those are the last screens. The risk. There are a lot of things. Well, I just show you in the previous one what happens if you abuse the lack of communication, backward compatibility. We have told about most of them. What happened? Yeah, when you have a synchronous task and you change the logic, or you change the logic for 10% of the user, and they stop calling some asynchronous task. What happened with them? With some processes pending. Automatic test is hired to keep them working. Complexity is increasing. There is an external source of truth. You have a board out of your system. If you use a third party, you have a board, and that board says when the feature flag is running, and that is not in your code. You have your IDE open, your IDE open, and also you have your web browser in the other side, and you need to keep checking. Confusions, people modifying, different behavior between pre-production, production, testing, local, and the catches, I told. Some biases people acquire or embrace with feature flags is, okay, I have a feature flag to rescue me, I can test in production. Release, and monolithic release. Leaving the update, imagine, I don't know, you have an API version 1, you create the version 2 and you say, hey, 10% of my users, they are using version 1. I'm going to keep the version 1. No, man. 2 microservices, but no feature flag, please. And force your user to move to the second version, please. Tolerance to inefficient code. I told my experience many years ago that, okay, this is a sheet, but it used to work, and I have the rescue plan in the else. Yeah, allow bad deploy processes. Finishing, I swear. Other things I saw and I read, people sharing code. Hey, I'm going to pass this code, I'm going to involve in a feature flag, and I'm going to tell to my colleague, hey, my working code, my whip code is there, but like there is a feature flag, hey, don't worry, it's not going to be run. Related with testing in production, sending to production something is not ready, deploying everything at the end, the versioning things, the versioning APIs I told, and the kill switches. We know we can switch off a feature flag in production, but don't rely on that. Try to avoid it. It's like a panic button, and nobody wants to press panic button every day. That is part of the bibliography. There is a lot of. Yeah, I work in Singular. They love to hire people. Please, I lost an opportunity to put my social networks there, because if you go there by me, I get money, but you can find me, please. Thanks a lot.